What is going on, guys? DBG here, and today, lads, we are going to be talking about the MyTEAM game mode and whether or not I'm worried about the game. And this video is going to be titled I'm worried about MyTEAM. And to an extent I am, and I'm going to explain why I'm worried and why I'm not worried, because I have reasons for both. And I think that I'm gonna have to just give like anecdotal evidence for all this, because I can only talk about my own experience, and I think there are certain issues that are much bigger issues for me being in Europe than they are in general. And obviously I will harp on and on and on about the fact that there just aren't players to play. And the more stuff we see, the more times we see things work and more times we see things don't, when it comes to like finding games. After midnight on PlayStation on EU, it's getting harder to find games now. Obviously coming up towards the end of the season, it is going to happen. But let me just say the reason why I'm worried. And I'm gonna say that I actually think content wise that they sprinted the first lap of marathon. There's a analogy that I always make, but I don't want to make it on a video because it might get demonetized. But they put everything kind of out too soon, and like Donovan Mitchell was a reason for that, and Donovan Mitchell was the start of it, and then the trophy case system. So they shot themselves in the foot with the trophy case. We know that. Let's not focus too much on that. But let's focus on the Thanksgiving event, which was really good. The Thanksgiving event was really, really good. I actually don't think there was really too many flaws in that. I think they did an awful lot of good things in the Thanksgiving event that, for me, I'm like, I will talk about that like it's a huge positive. Even things like the World Showcase cards. Dude, World Cup. They got the World Cup. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is all cool new content. So should we be really, really excited? Yeah. But maybe they gave out, not even that they gave out too much too soon, is that I think that what they're trying to do is reinvent a game mode. And I always say this, unless somebody has a reason to play this game, not a lot of people are going to touch this game online, because online is such a bad experience. Whether it be guys like Jazz who hate just the fact that there are algo swings, which are intentionally programmed in the game. We all know they are. We all know that there is momentum in the game. They have a patent for it. There is situations. It used to be a thing where we all know there's invisible walls on like the end line, the sideline. If you get pushed over an invisible wall, the momentum's against you. But if you keep just running into the invisible wall, it means either everything's even or things aren't against you. But if you just run straight out past the invisible wall, the momentum's going against you. It used to be a thing with whites that your opponent get 5 whites in a row and you can miss 10 in a row, just the way the game went. And now it is kind of rebounding, where there's a lot of RNG involved. Point guards are rebounding centers. And as well as that, because of the fact that most online is such a weird experience, unless there are incentives to play online, you're not going to see a casual player playing this game online. You're not going to see many people playing the game online. I don't even mind. I actually don't think NBA 2K23 is a bad game. This is just my whole theory about it, is that when you want to patch things like dribbling and shooting and make those significantly harder or less effective to make a quote-unquote sim basketball game, don't be surprised when... Like, sim basketball is never going to be good online. Don't be surprised when players are finding exploits in the game that are completely game-breaking, when the developers actively have taken away ways of scoring that are unrealistic but possible. Like, I'm sorry, why are they trying to do whatever they can to get rid of 5-out? Clearly an NBA offense, but they bring in back cuts and their defense still can't guard back cuts. There's just so many, like, flaws with online that I'm just like, no. I'll play online sometimes. I don't really like playing online. I'll put it out there. I can look objectively at this game and say that it is actually a really, really good game. 2K as a whole is a really good game. I don't even think gameplay is that bad, but it's really, really bad 5v5 online. 5v5 online in terms of like 2K, and then everyone thought we were going to get better cards, was going to get better. The better cards we get, the worse this gameplay is. So I'm like really kind of worried. And whereas last year, even with the high tier cards, there was the fun factor. Even if you give most people Tim Thomas, they're not going to be able to do anything with him. At least in other years, you could cook with anybody. And last year was an extreme, but I think that and this is kind of my whole issue, is that this game is clearly developed as a basketball simulation. It's developed as a basketball simulation and not a video game. One of the head developers, Desire, always says, play basketball, don't play video games. So this game is not made to be a video game. And as a basketball simulation, if it's two players playing against each other and they want to just play real basketball, it's going to look like a fantastic game. It really is. Because it fits that niche. It fits that specific thing good. Well, but like if you want to play like that online and you're coming up and this guy run to the basket and glitching your AI with back cuts, you're going to get popped at 50. It's just not a way of playing. So the issue with playing the game online is the game is programmed to be a simulation. Whereas when player A plays player B online, let's be real, they're trying to win. So they're going to play it like it's a video game. And as much as the devs don't want it to be played like a video game, it's going to be played like a video game. And unfortunately, the game just doesn't function as a video game. Whereas some years, I will say though, some years I feel like 2K do a really bad job in terms of making it some sort of weird hybrid of video game and basketball simulation. Whereas at least I can come to play this here. It works as a basketball simulation. It doesn't work as a video game. Like this is an objectively online 5v5 2K is objectively a bad video game. And you can have fun playing a bad video game, but like we can have a list from in the smallest font possible, from the top of my ceiling to the floor, of the flaws in this game online. Like you can have fun playing this game, and if you enjoy this game, great. I don't even mind this game that much. I'll admit, like there are times where I have fun. Offline, it's a great experience. There are a lot of good things about this game, but online 5v5 is just an objectively, it's not meant to be played for two guys trying to cheese against each other. And like even the devs will say when two good players who are playing to the meta play against each other, that the game's not programmed like that. So to even argue that that's a good game is just false. I don't even think the devs would tell you that their game is good in that regard. But that is driving a lot of people away from online. And unless we get an event like Thanksgiving, people just don't play online. Like I actually think more people are playing this game. More and more are actually coming into this game because we're getting a lot of rewards, we're getting some good content, but more and more people are just going offline. And they're going offline, no money spent, building their teams that way, and are just kind of having fun. Like, the competitive community's gone. And I will even say it, the like unlimited playing community is gone. There's no unlimited community. It takes longer to find clutch time games. It takes longer to find TT online games. I wouldn't be surprised if the player numbers are a lot closer to where they were this time last year right now. But the vast majority of people that play this game just play offline, because it is a really good experience offline and a really bad experience online. So I'm really worried that as the year goes on, that's going to get even worse, because let's be real, the better cards get, the worse this gameplay is. And I hate that I'm having to say that. Like, I wish I didn't. I wish I could be there like, you know what, it'll get better when the cards get better, but I actually don't think it will. So that is why I'm not optimistic. Why I am optimistic? Neon lights. The neon lights, lads. They're the best. They're going to be the best thing ever. Obviously, I'm joking there. But seasons don't matter anymore. And as much as I want to take the piss out of the dev blog, and like I understand, like seasons don't matter anymore. And I've come to that acceptance. I said it last season, people argued against me. I 1v5'd an entire podcast about seasons last time for season 2. People saying season 2 mattered. Seasons have not mattered in this game since season 7 of NBA 2K23. Season 8 didn't have a name or 2K22. Season 8 didn't have a name or a theme. Season 1 didn't have a name or a theme. Season 2 didn't have a name or a theme. Season 3 doesn't have a name or a theme. And there's kind of nothing with it. Again, devblog absolutely worthless. Seasons don't matter. But I think we're getting a Christmas event. And I think that the dev team genuinely are, in terms of the content, the MyTEAM dev team specifically, the producers and the devs, genuinely, they know what they're doing. Like, I don't understand what they're doing some of the time, but I have confidence that even if they're making decisions, that they at least have reasons for them. Sometimes, like the hero decision, I just can't fathom what they're thinking, but I have confidence they're actually making decisions for a reason. And I think they saw what the backlash was last year, that we got nothing over the Christmas period, and when they came back with moments of the month, I think that it's going to be a case where moments of the month probably comes back in January. I think maybe that they didn't want to hype up too much on the dev blog, because maybe they're trying to plan all their stuff now, and they don't want to, and they're kind of constantly making adjustments. Like we've seen from the survey, from the large survey that people are gotten, there's so many questions, including even the Jack Harlow, J. Cole interviews, that are getting all this feedback. And I think they're making a lot of decisions and making a lot of things in this game mode on the fly. So I do actually think we see a lot of good stuff in Season 3. I actually don't think that it's just a nothing season like people think. Like, I will genuinely just take the piss out of dev blog, because the dev blog is meme worthy. Like, taking the piss out of the blog is fully justified. But I actually think that the reason why we saw nothing on the blog is that it's realistically it's about 2 weeks probably until the dev team go on their Christmas break. And they have 2 weeks to basically get together content for the next 3 weeks. From about the middle of December, from about the 17th-ish of December till probably the 5th of January, they have to prep content for that period. And I think that the reason we saw nothing in the dev blog was that they're taking in feedback, they're taking in survey feedback, they're taking in feedback from next makers. I wouldn't be surprised if they're watching videos like this. They're trying to get as much feedback as they can. And I think that the reason we saw nothing is that they're maybe making tweaks to what they previously have said, and that they don't want, for example, a Game of Rings situation like NBA 2K21, where they maybe have a concept. Like, the Game of Rings concept changed. It was even worse. Like, as bad as it was even worse when it was written in the dev blog. They don't want a situation where they have some concept that's so bad being written in a blog and big hyped up. Because I think if they just didn't try to hype up the Game of Rings, it was just a thing, no one would have said anything negative about it. But I think because it was this big hyped up thing, it was just blowing out of proportion because of how bad it was. It was meant to be something big. I think that maybe by not mentioning it in a dev blog, they give themselves a little bit of leeway with whatever event they bring in. So that rather than, if they're like 50-50 on whether they want to run something a certain way or they want to make some tweaks, and in 2 weeks time, if they obviously have something planned, but whether they want to make tweaks or not, rather than releasing something and having this angry Irish guy criticize it, break down every intricate detail of it, and explain why it will or won't work, probably the latter. Trophy case, I literally explained why it wouldn't work. I read the dev blog and 5 minutes later knew why it wouldn't work. I don't know how that got through that. Like, I don't know how the current implementation of it got through testing. I understand that the trophy case did because it's a good idea, it's just the current implementation is terrible. But they don't want to release something in a blog that's not 1,000,000% ready to go, because again, guys like me will tear into it. If there's even the slightest flaw in it, or there's a potential flaw in its execution, somebody like me will absolutely tear into it. So I can see why they wouldn't do it. I think we're going to get a Christmas event, and I think that we're going to get some good content. I think they're going to bring Moments of the Month back, because they didn't mention Moments cards, which means that they're probably going to bring Moments of the Month back in January, but it's probably something that takes a little bit longer to actually kind of set up. So what could be the case with that is they don't want to mention Moments of the Month because they have to set it up, they have to create the new card art, they have to do a bunch of things, and it's easier just to not announce it in the dev blog, because if something goes wrong and they're not able to accomplish that, or maybe they want to tweak it and do something else with that. If something goes wrong and they're not actually able to accomplish it, it's just too big a task, with not a lot of people working in the office. If they don't have it in the dev blog and nothing comes, we'll get angry for no content. But us getting angry for no content is better than like them promising something and not delivering, if you get me. So I think we're in a position now where we're all expecting nothing. And this is what I will always say, is that always go in with really low expectations. There is a 4-word phrase that I always say, but I've been told not to say it anymore. But I actually think coming into this season, we're in a really, really good position as a MyTEAM community, because our expectations are on the floor, and any sort of good content is just going to raise our opinions of the game, because this mode amongst a lot of people is just despised, especially people that play it online. If you're playing it offline, you're just not refocusing, you're just doing what you're doing. You're doing the same thing as last year. If you're a hyper grinder, this is good for you. But I think that we're coming into this season at the least hyped we've ever been. We're coming into this season expecting it to be a disaster. And even if this season is like 2% better than season 2, which I think it has a very good chance of being, if we look at how good season 3 was and we look at 21, if it's even 2% better than 2K or than season 2, we're going to be happy. Even if it's equally as good as season 2, we're going to be happy for the reason of when you have no expectations, anything good is a positive. If your expectations are sky high, like people wear like season 6 glitch reality, which our expectations and how good of a season that could have been was a big reason why we were so angry at that. Our expectations were sky high for Iced Out last year because of clutch time and because of how good season 3 was in 2K21. But a lot of things in terms of the game, we don't really expect too much. We're not really expecting too much. A joke of a blog. We are at a really low point, and I actually think this is going to be a good season. Like, no jokes aside, I'm still going to meme about the neon lights. The neon lights are going to be the... If this ends up being a good season, we will just meme the neon lights for the rest of the time. But the dev blog doesn't make a season. The only person that didn't like the Season 8 dev blog in NBA 2K21 was me. It was me. And the only reason I didn't like that dev blog was because nothing was really said in it. It was just stay tuned, we've got something good, stay tuned, we've got something planned, stay tuned, we've got something planned. After the last time they said stay tuned, we've got something big, being Dark Matter Coaches, which was a disaster. So it was kind of like coming off the backs of, well, the last time they told us, wait, we've got something good for you, stay tuned. It was like the genuine, like, worst thing, one of the worst rewards we've ever seen was the last time they'd said it. So I was like, they've said stay tuned like 5 times in this blog, so I'm like, we can't really trust that, can we? Yeah, after last time. But I still think that not being hyped and going in with no expectations as a community puts us in a better position than going in overly hyped. Because at least now, when there is good content, we're going to be happy and we're going to be more excited rather than if everything was hyped up, just kind of expecting the good content. So anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys worried? Are you guys not? I'm worried in a way and I'm not worried in a way. I'm worried because the only time anyone really plays this game online, or you get people playing online, the only time it's not hard to find a game in Europe online is when there is an incentive to play online, which is, again, that's a little bit concerning. Not the end of the world, but a little bit concerning. And that's kind of why I'm worried more than anything. I think that might be a trend that continues throughout the year, trophy case or not trophy case. But that's kind of like a gameplay thing. That's not even talking about MyTEAM specifically. That is that's just talking about the gameplay. It's a bad experience online for a lot of people. And I think that the way the game's played, I think even the gameplay devs will say that the game's not programmed to work like this. So obviously it's going to be a bad experience online. So I just think that's what I'm worried about. But in terms of the season, the things people think that I'm worried about, I memed the living daylight of that season. The dev blog is the worst piece of literature I've read about 2K, but I'm quietly confident this is going to be a good season. And I hope I'm not proved wrong. I hope I'm not proved wrong, that I'm quietly confident this will be a good season, but I'm also not expecting anything. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.